What's going on? It's your girl TampaMystic, and we are broadcasting live once again on the industry's most wanted podcast. It's a rainy day in the A, but that's okay. That don't stop our shine. You dig? We shining bright over here. It's been a busy day too. I've been here since early, working, getting it in. I got another special guest checking in. I'm gonna let him give himself the official introduction. What's going on?
What's going on, Tampa? It's Fenni Casino, Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, this is my city, so I'm going to rep it till I die. But also, shout out Seattle and Miami. What's going on?
It rains a lot in Seattle, don't it?
Oh, yeah. It does. It does.
I just want to, first and foremost, I want people to understand your journey. Because the things we go through in life sets us up for who we are right now, right?
That's right.
Everything that you've been through has dictated who you are as not only as an artist, but as a man, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So you shouted out two other cities besides Atlanta. Talk to us why.
Seattle. Let's talk about Seattle.
Okay.
It does rain there a lot.
That's what I hear. I've
lie.
never been there, but I'm sure it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
The
man.
air is
I'm missing out.
the mountain views. I've been able to go and kind of explore, like, the outskirts of Seattle.
Yeah.
Snowboarding and things like that.
Appreciating God's gifts.
It's like the nature alone is just amazing. But it's called the Evergreen State because it's green everywhere and there's green everywhere. But Seattle's it's a music city. I went to Garfield High School, and in that school, they had the Quincy Jones School of Music.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's amazing.
That school really opened my eyes about, music, therapy, and understanding the art and craft and the literature of music.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really cool. But Seattle's where I started my business at. My first record label was started when I was 18 in Seattle, Washington. Yeah.
Wow, so you've been bossing it up since a young age. You're still young now, but, at 18 years old, you're just becoming a man, really an adult, and you were already creating record labels.
Well, I was following the directions. I felt like, in the books,
that's what they tell you to do.
Tell you, this is what you're supposed to do. Of course, you can't go to the bank and get a business loan for a record label.
Right.
So I learned that early. But
absolutely.
I honed into my craft there, and it kind of took me to another place, took me to the business side of things.
Right.
Instead of just the rapping and producing records and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Which is so important because this is a business, right?
Yes.
I tell people it's not the music game, the rap game. It's the music business. We ain't playing no games.
No games.
Period.
And they don't play out there. The rock bands and the other artists that were out there, they were booking the shows and touring. So
right.
I learned that piece from Seattle. But I'm from East Point, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm from East Point. Before that, I went to Tri-Cities. And while I was at Tri-Cities, I was working at Fat Gear.
Okay.
And I used to get all the instrumental tapes, all the Clue tapes. And
shout out DJ Clue. That's really one of the pivotal points that helped start my career in this music business.
I love Clue. I love listening to the freestyles on there and getting the instrumental tapes. So that was my thing. I would get the instrumental tapes, bring them back to East Point, and get everybody to come over and record at my house.
That's where it all. Well, how did music initially really become that passion? How did you really figure out you got a gift for music?
Somebody had to tell me that.
Okay.
Somebody had to be like, "Man, that's really dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Say it like this, though.
Okay. That's even doper.
Right.
That they had that type of input on it, because some people won't do that.
No, they were. When I was growing up, I mean, I hung out with older cats. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would run around with them, but at the same time, they weren't in the music business. But
right.
They like hip hop. So
right. Absolutely.
I would go share my rhymes with the older guys. You know what I mean?
The old heads.
Yeah. Try to get a feel for them, see if they start knocking or whatever. But my passion came from just watching the world at awe when you saw Michael Jackson.
Man, he was one of the greatest ever to do it, ever.
Right.
I would love to have had this conversation with him. It would probably make me cry
Right.
in so
Yep.
much emotion because he was such a genius.
Yeah, he was a genius, and when you realize that he's a genius, you're like, well, how did he? Where did that? How?
Listen, exactly. You want to figure. It's just like with anything. Like you were talking about, Washington's beautiful and its nature, and I'm a nature junkie. Like if I could like live outside comfortably, I would, because I'm just like, I love being outdoors. I love hiking. That's my passion outside of this music, is I love hiking and I love being in the mountains, and that's where I'm going to retire, and I'm going to have my own farm and grow my own food. I know we're getting off subject, but my point with that is when you find your passion, I think you dive so deep into it that you figure out everything about the aspect of it. I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is because you just have a gift, number one, that you're born with.
Right.
You know, I don't think that gift can necessarily be created. Like you can help it, but it's something you're born with, right?
Right. And I think that, you said be a part of nature, and that's funny. We'll touch on that. But yeah. So when I had this gift, my mother cultivated it.
Okay.
And she was
That's beautiful.
She was a librarian, and she would bring me home all these books. And she'd be like, oh, check this out. Look at this. Look at this. And I'd be like, it was a lot of stuff in there I didn't understand. Mechanical royalties.
Of course.
Like, it was heavy information.
Absolutely.
But when I realized that I can get paid the rest of my life off one or two songs.
Absolutely, you can.
At that age, I was like, oh, okay. I just need to just stay consistent.
Absolutely.
But there was a point in my life where I fell in love with the business more than the creativity.
Right. Which is beautiful thing.
Right. And it's a lot, because once you realize, okay, you have the business formula, then you still have to dig in and get that creativity thing going.
Yeah.
That's not something that goes on 24/7, 365.
That's right.
There's seasons for that.
Absolutely, there is.
So there was a period where along my journey, put out about 7 mixtapes.
Okay.
And then I produced other artists that I was working with, that I was like, I'm just going to do this.
Right.
Because it's so easy for me to just say, okay, here are the records,
do your thing.
Yeah, do your thing. Let me get the artwork
right.
done. And then there we go. Right. And I didn't have to get criticized and things like that. So I fell in love with the creativity first, but then my passion kicked in for the business.
Absolutely. And that's amazing, because that's where a lot of artists fail, is because they do not take the time to understand and learn this music business. And, I consult with a lot of artists, and I'll ask them, who do you have your publishing with? And they don't even know that exists.
Right.
They don't understand about ASCAP and BMI and CSAC, or to go even further, registering with, Sound Exchange and getting your BDS together and your media base. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, especially today, because we're in a fully digital streaming era.
Yes.
Record stores and all that are non-existent. There probably are still some out there, but they're not selling the newest stuff. They're selling the older stuff most of the time. Right. Same thing with CDs and cassettes. That's all out the window. Some people still press up CDs, but for the most part, it's all streaming. Yes. So now the business is very different than it was 10, 15 years and beyond that, because now you have to get a whole new set of business in order to calculate those streams on your Spotify and on your YouTube, and making sure if someone like TampaMystic is playing your music in the background, you're getting paid off of that.
That is correct.
There's so many different ways to make money. So I love the fact that you fell in love with the business side, because that's what's going to really help push you to those next levels and make you successful.
Right. And I'm still learning. I learned from you guys. I learned from those who've been in the business, especially in the media side.
Yes.
I learned from people who, even artists now, that are transitioning from from music to going into real estate and things like that.
Absolutely.
I have so much respect for them.
Me
because,
too.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot to have a fan base and still do your business endeavors and do them successfully.
Absolutely, it is, because one thing that I'm a big believer in is we have to have multiple hustles. We cannot just do one thing. You can't just be an artist. You got to do this, like I was sharing with you early on, like I do everything for my shows, not because there's not other people capable, because there's people who are better at it than I am, but I like to be hands-on. I like my stuff done a certain way. So guess what? That means I have to learn how to do it.
That's correct.
If I want it done in a certain time frame and I want it done my way, then guess what? We got to do it.
Right. Right. And I'm a stickler for some of those things as well, meaning that I am not a sound engineer. I don't want to learn how to engineer.
Right.
I would prefer to pay the professional,
right,
to do that. I'm not doing any contracts. Let's just pay the lawyer.
Right.
I'm not doing any PR work. Let's just pay the publicist. I'm that type of person because if you think about it, we are businesses. Artists are businesses. So,
absolutely.
I'm a McDonald's, right? But I still need a store manager.
Absolutely.
And I still need a lead cook and a cashier.
Absolutely.
In order to operate successfully. If I'm doing all of those things,
absolutely,
then, I'm going to be burnt out. The creativity is going to drop. The quality of the food is going to be bad.
Facts.
So for me, I look at it like a well-oiled machine.
Yes.
And you must know when to pay and who to pay and then what you can do.
That's so true. You have to have people on your team because I've got a business partner. He's in Florida, but anything that I'm not able to get done, that's where he steps in.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have somebody else that actually will edit and engineer my shows as far as, like bleeping out the words because it's enough for me to put the videos together. So you're right. You got to be totally hands-on and know how to do a lot of the stuff. Mm-hmm. But there's other people that you have to involve and bring in because otherwise you said it's going to bog your mind down. Like if you're trying to do absolutely every aspect of it. We're at Ark Studios. We're a team here. We all chip in and help each other with doing different things because, like you said, now you can become more creative.
Right.
And you don't feel so pressured when you're trying to do everything yourself.
This is a wonderful facility.
Thank you.
Like, the tour was nice. The studio looks great. The live studio looks amazing. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Appreciate that. Ark Studios, y'all. Come visit us.
But for the most part, I'm back here in Atlanta. And for the past, I don't want to say 10 years, I've been here in Atlanta. Prior to that, I was in Miami, where I learned about the promotion side of things. I was on South Beach working with Opium Group and running around with Headliner, giving flyers out, but learning how to get people into the door.
That's a task in itself.
Yes, and for me, it was a great experience because I was able to meet a lot of people and build my relationships in Miami, to where I think that like those relationships help craft me to who I am because you learn from those OGs in the game.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, okay, I don't know why this guy doesn't do this. But if I was him and I had that much money, I would do this. Well,
absolutely,
he's investing his money,
right?
He's his money is in real estate or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, man, that's blah blah blah's manager. He should be in a Ferrari or something like that. And it's just like he's got this car, but he has these condos over here. So watching these guys do that in Miami Beach and the Miami area, and then working with different type of engineers. I think my low-key, he's Venezuelan.
Okay.
I had a Haitian producer.
Oh, yeah, that's dope.
And I was over at Pitbull had a studio off Bird Street somewhere, and we would go and work with the producers from over there.
Yeah.
And it was just eye-opening to the instruments they would use and all of the different sounds they would use and the artists they work with from other countries and stuff like that.
Right, absolutely.
So that's what Miami kind of taught me. It was like,
because it's very diverse there.
Yes, it is. It is
very much so. When I lived in Tampa, I used to visit Miami a lot, and I loved the culture.
I love the culture. Like, I love it. I actually decided to say I'm not gonna do music anymore in Miami. I said this business stuff. This is what I want.
Right.
Like this networking and meeting all these people. I know all these people now.
Yeah.
I can put another artist on, right?
Absolutely. And that's the goal. I believe a lot of artists, if you think about some of the artists that aren't necessarily old, but as they get older, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
They get to a point in their career, they're like, okay, I don't necessarily want to be on the forefront of being an artist, but I still want to do something within this music business. So what do? They turn to putting other artists in a position.
Right.
And I think that's so beautiful because all you guys know, I talk about in order to be a boss, you got to put other people in a position to be a boss. And that's what you're working on doing.
Right. So I finished my last project Chasing Yesterday in 2012, and I just went for it. I moved back to Atlanta, and I started interning. I think I was 27.
Okay, where were you interning at?
I was over at the West End Studios. I was at TMG.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was over there with. I think I was working with Manny Mad Dog. So
shout out Manny.
Yeah,
That's my dog.
that's my dog. He taught me.
He's like definitely one of them OGs in this business.
Yes, he is.
I've known him since the beginning of time.
Yeah, and he took me in, and he showed me almost overwhelmingly too much information.
Right, stuff you're like, my brain is in overload right now.
Right.
I get it because he knows so much about the business.
Right, and he taught me a lot. So while I'm there interning, I was able to do some really cool stuff in Atlanta. Of course, I was from here, but it was very interesting to see how the business had changed since, we were doing tapes at Fat Gear.
Absolutely.
Now, my journey back to Atlanta. But yeah, for the most part, I fell in love with helping artists in branding and marketing by working with Manny.
Listen, that is such a blessing because not all artists out here have the opportunity to work with a Manny or a Bigger Rankin, Shout out Bigger Rankin and shout out Kingpin. A lot of people know him as Rap Juggernaut. I know him as Kingpin.
Shout out Juggernaut. Yep.
They are really the first ones who wrapped their arms around me and showed me the way. And not everybody has that opportunity to work with guys like that who are going to just grab you by the hand and say, come on, let's go. Let me show you how this business really works. And that's the artists that are out here fumbling because they're trying to figure it out on their own. And my biggest piece of advice with that is just study the greats.
Yes.
Even though I have OGs, and I'm sure you do as well, I still study, for example, I aspire to be like the Breakfast Club. I love what they do. They're on a major platform.
Yes.
So I study what they do. Not that I want to be exactly like them, but I just love their formula.
Right.
So it's like, okay, now it's my job to figure out what did they do to get to the level they're at.
Right.
And same thing with you. If you aspire to be like someone else, you have to study the greats.
Yes.
People study MJ. They want to figure out how did MJ become like the world's greatest ever.
Right.
So that's where we have to actually apply ourselves and study the greats.
Right. So my great was Diddy. I studied him since I was in school. The books, he had a bio book.
Yeah.
And I got the book, and I was like, oh, okay. This is where I want to go.
Man.
And people be like, I know you have this company, and I want to work with you. You have all these artists, but why do you have so many artists? And it's just like, I'm taking this formula.
Yeah.
And this formula says to do this kind of way, and to make sure that this is done this kind of way.
Listen, absolutely. There has to be a formula and a blueprint. We can't just be out here winging it when it comes to business and when it involves other people. Because now you're playing with people's potential money and livelihood, and people don't play about that.
Right. That's so true. That's so true.
I understand you've worked with people like Lil Baby and Kanye and just to name a few and others. Talk to us about those experiences.
It was Kanye. Let's talk about Kanye. I was in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
And I was handing out my mixtape or selling them on the corner. That's what we did out there.
Right, absolutely.
And this guy, who's my manager now still, Chris, he gave me a flyer, and it had Kanye West on the flyer. And all I knew about Kanye at the time was the Through the Wire song.
Right.
I knew he's with The Rock. And I was like, and I went back up to him. I said, how do I do this? I want to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
And mind you, I got my triple XT on, and mixtapes in my pocket, all kind of stuff, And he's like, well, pass these out and then call this number. And I do that, and then we're doing the college dropout album release party in Seattle, Washington.
Man.
And my job is to, make sure everybody's good. And
what a time to be alive,
What a time. will.i.am was there. Black Eyed Peas were there.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. It was interesting seeing Kanye become this celebrity. And all these girls were around him and stuff like that. But he was very polite, and, And so throwing that party for him was like, okay, what's next? At that time.
That's motivation right there.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God, I'm with somebody from The Rock right now.
You're fueled up now. Like, I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah, so I think I thank him for the opportunity every day in my head, But other than that, working with Little Baby was an opportunity given to me as well. You know, I was working with the artist from Priority Records, and they reached out to me for some kind of feature for Little Baby. And I brokered that feature, and I was able to, watch them produce that record. And
it's amazing.
Watch him not write anything and just go in the booth.
He is a genius as well. Like, I have so much respect for Lil Baby.
Me too.
Like,
he works hard.
He works hard, and what you said about Kanye is the true definition of a closed mouth does not get fed. If you had not called that guy back there and said, "Hey, I want to do this. How do you do this?" If you would have just let him go on his way, that door would have never have opened for you.
Never.
So essentially, you created that opportunity.
I mean, I'm still humble to this day.
You created that opportunity, because if you had not called him back and said, "Hey, how do I do this?" that would have never have happened.
That would have never happened.
A closed mouth doesn't get fed. And one thing that I've learned about not just music, but life, is that relationships will put you in places that money cannot.
That is very important. So I want to touch on relationships. Relationships pay my bills, I think I even, say, "Hey, I know somebody who can help you. Let me give you Tampa's number."
And I appreciate that.
Like, I don't know, but I know that integrity in relationships really help.
They do.
I saw Manny do that. He had a lot of relationships. And even to get to where I am right now, is all relationships.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like, oh, I have all this money and I'm able to buy my way
too.
in. It was just like, I know somebody, they know me,
Right.
I did good work for them, and they're good people. So they're going to refer me. And that's how I started Sino Life. Sino Life Media is referral only.
And again, that's so important. And I love that you're open to talking about that, because people will want to make it seem like that they did everything themselves and they funded everything themselves. And when you and I know in reality, it doesn't always work that way.
No, it doesn't.
I didn't come in this with no budget.
Right.
Period.
Right. And that's what also got me with Talib. I did a event overseas.
Okay.
For a tech company, and they wanted Talib in Douala. And I had to pick up the phone. And my guy in New York, shout out Stone, he's like, "I got Talib's he's on tour overseas in your area. I can get him to come."
Right. That's amazing. Picking up the phone and making that phone call.
Yes. And
not trying to hit their DM.
No.
Like, I wanted to stress that so highly, because that is so important. Like, if you're trying to reach out to somebody at that level, don't hit their DM, because they're not going to check it. Pick up that and make that phone call and build that relationship. Let them hear your voice.
Yes. I'm still a super fan. Still a hip hop fan. So meeting him was also like,
of course.
I was like, I love your delivery. I love this one song. I love that.
Yeah.
I love this. I love Black Star, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, I basically took your whole style for a period of time,
Paid homage. You paid homage to him.
It wasn't like, this is just business. I'm a fan,
Yes.
and I'm lucky to have you here. Wherever, we're in Dublin, Ireland, And
you've had the opportunity to travel a lot, it sounds like, too.
Yes, I have.
That's a blessing. You've seen probably some of the most beautiful parts of the world. I'm sure I haven't been to Ireland, but I'm sure it's absolutely amazing out there.
It is. It's different.
Let's talk about that, because we were talking earlier about nature and stuff like that. You lived in Washington. I'm jealous.
Well, I've been able to do shows in Alaska, so I've been travel to Alaska, do some shows with my team, and then we would go to Portland. Like, the whole Northwest is really nice, but really, honestly, I just traveled across country a year ago. I drove from Seattle, Washington, all the way to Atlanta.
That's the way to do it. That way you can see everything.
We saw everything. Me and my brother, Mega Evers, we drove an RV across.
That way you're comfortable. You're not in a little tight car.
No, it was raining and snowing and
But
ice
that's
on the
okay.
road.
You got to experience every part of God's gifts. I look at everything nature. That was a gift that God gave to us.
Right.
Every tree, every flower, every piece of sand. Like God created that for us to be out there in it.
Right.
And I'm the same way as you. Of course, have flown many times for business. But when it comes to personal, I like to get in the car and drive.
I like to drive. I drive a lot.
I want to see what's going on out there in the world.
Yes,
You never know who you might meet along your journey.
It's inspiring, especially from
It
a creative
is.
standpoint.
To see other cultures and the way they do things, because even just here within the U.S., you might hit a small town or small city that their way of living is so different, and it
Right.
makes you appreciate the
Right.
convenience of what we have so much more.
Right. And so when I look at other communities and then I come back, I'm like, why aren't we doing this?
Right.
Or, hey, I think that there's a way that we can improve this. What do I have to do to start that?
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know,
Incorporate it into your community.
Right. And so when I realized that, living in different cities and growing up and moving around a lot, you come to understanding that, people are the same. They
Right.
just have different outlooks, and you just
That's
wanna
right.
line it up. If you want to line it up, then, you take the good with the bad and you keep pushing, you keep pushing forward as far as like helping create that vision for that community, whatever it is that they want. And that's important to me. It's important that, like, I grew up on Stanton Road and, Hillcrest and Campbellton Road and Washington Road. And when I drive back through there, it's just like, this is still the same. I want more for
Of course.
that community that I grew
Absolutely.
up in. And then I turn around and then I realize that, that's a pretty, that community is pretty valuable,
Yeah.
The resources just are being used differently, So, but yeah, the main thing for me right now is exploring the farm life, and that's what I've been doing. I'm cultivating about 2 hours south of here,
Oh, that's amazing.
and so I drive from Atlanta, back to the farm probably once a week.
Are you growing all your own food and stuff?
I'm almost there. I had to get a farm manager to come and train me on how
Of
to
course.
grow.
Yeah, you don't want to kill your food.
Right. And it's interesting. It's a different type of business.
It's a very lucrative business because people understand about, not everyone, but a lot of people understand investing into stocks and crypto, but commodity is a huge business.
Forever. It will
Forever.
be.
We all have to eat,
Mhm.
Whether it be livestock or, fruits and vegetables, whatever it is, like farming. And it's really the best way for us to feed ourselves too.
That's true. Recently, probably like a year ago, I was like, okay, fish only, right?
Right.
Fish only. And then I try to do meats once a week, maybe twice a week.
Absolutely.
But I love food,
Right. We all do.
So it's just like, but it took a lot of discipline. But being on the farm and being in the open space and seeing nature and deers and all kind of animals and stuff, you're just like, okay, now I understand, what I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
It's a certain state of mind that it puts you in,
I agree. It's like a mental therapy, like I'm such an animal lover that 7 years ago I quit eating any type of animal. I even stopped eating fish. I recently incorporated fish back into my diet because I needed a protein, right? But I was like such an animal lover. I was like, why am I eating them if I love, what I'm saying? Like I started feeling guilty, like the humanity part of it. But then what I've struggled with is when you become vegan, unless you really take the time to understand, like, the veganism lifestyle and have time to cook, you tend to start eating a lot of processed foods, right?
Right.
And that was the problem for me. Like I had lost 63 pounds and then I gained about 30 of it back because I was following that very strict diet, but I got bored with it.
Right.
And then I started eating some processed foods and that packs the pounds back on quickly. So now that's what I've revamped I've completely eliminated the processed foods and I'm back on that journey of eating a completely clean diet. I says, at the end of the day, I don't have any health issues, but before I start to develop them because of what I'm putting in my body, I got to switch gears again.
Yeah.
That's why I want to eventually have a farm and grow my own food.
Yeah. Somebody said when you eat your the food that you've grown is just a different feeling.
Yes.
So
You appreciate it more.
Really? Okay.
Listen, I'll tell you, my dad, growing up, my grandparents in Ohio, they still had farmland. And then even my dad, who's in Florida, he even had like a little garden, growing up where he grew tomatoes and, different things. And my dad even made his own wine.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's like when you do something, you appreciate it more when it's not just given to you.
That's correct.
So yeah, that's my goal. That's how I want to retire. I've already been looking at lands. I want to move to maybe like North Georgia because I want to be a little bit closer to the mountains.
Okay.
I want to retire there, and I just want to have a little farm and a couple goats and
right.
as my pets.
Right. No, yeah. That's an amazing like vision to have, or like, goal to have. I think everybody should want to get some land. And so, of course,
it's an investment.
It's about legacy and an investment, right?
Do you have kids?
Yeah, they all have land now.
See, and that's beautiful that you've instilled that into them.
Yeah.
And that's so important because it's bigger than us when we have kids, right?
Right.
We want to instill into them to make those investments and think about their future. And, we don't want to be out here doing good, but our kids are down bad.
Right.
We want our kids to do better than us.
Now it's hard to get them out to the farm. They don't want to be out there.
Listen,
but
I understand.
It's just like
I think as they get older, they probably will, though. I don't know how old they are, but I know kids, up to a certain age, and including myself, I wanted to be in the city. I wanted to be on the go. I wanted to be in the hustle and bustle. Now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, okay, y'all can have all that. Give me the peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? My thought process has totally changed, but it comes with just us getting older. That's just life. Let's talk about 2022. I'm not big on New Year's resolutions. Anybody that knows me knows I believe in setting goals for ourselves.
Understood.
We have to have a blueprint.
Right.
We have to have a formula. What are some of the things that we can expect to see from you in 2022, new and different from what you're doing right now?
Well, in 2022, I expect to be spending more time with my family.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, and just, honestly, my family's going through a tough time right now.
Are they in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're just going through a tough time right now.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, one of my family members is turning 100,
Wow.
So
that's
their
a blessing.
birthday party's tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a blessing.
Right. So spending more time with my family, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Listen, that's one of the most important things that you can ever do, because you can't get that time back.
Right.
And once they're gone, you don't want to ever have those regrets.
Well, and the thing is, for me, there was a level of sacrifice in order to get it so where I can financially sustain myself.
Totally get it. I totally get it. We're like the same person.
You gotta, it's either all or nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
That's right.
All or nothing.
Yes, there's no in between.
Right. So my kids, they know that, and they're on my Instagram, and they're like, hey, what's going on? But at the end of the day, and then of course being able to do music comfortably.
Yes. Absolutely.
Comfortably.
Yeah, not pressured.
Not pressure, not, I have to do this, I need this money, da-da-da-da. No. I can put out whatever I want to do,
right?
Whatever album I want
on your terms,
on my terms, with my, this, that, and the other. I'm not like this. So, and this is the fun part.
Yes,
this is the actual fun. Spending time with your family is the fun part.
It absolutely is. Because even if they don't necessarily see your vision, that's your family.
Of course.
You want to spend that time with them, because again, it is a huge sacrifice.
Yes.
I understand. That's why I say you and I are kind of like the same person, because I totally understand. I moved to Atlanta when I was 39, right? Mm-hmm. And my parents, I'd always lived close to them, like within a 30-minute, once I moved out of my house, or my parents' house, I should say, I always lived within 30 minutes. So I could get to them quick and easy.
Right.
So when my son graduated high school and he went straight to the military.
Okay.
I said, okay, it's mama's turn now. It's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
I waited. I was a single mom, so I didn't want to uproot my son. Mm-hmm. I waited till he graduated. It was his choice. He wanted to go to military. Then I came here. But my parents were like, we're going to miss you. I said, you guys have had me for 39 years. But, you're always mama's girl, mama's boy, daddy's girl. But I understand you got to make those sacrifices. We have to follow and pursue our dreams too. And sometimes that means separating ourselves from the people we love, not in a bad way, but just we got to pick up and move, go somewhere else.
Yeah, you got to go get it.
Because you already know, like, if you stayed in Seattle, you probably wouldn't be doing the things you're doing right now, right?
Which was very hard. It was very hard to me. Like, oh, man, you know, especially at the time, it was like I was doing a lot of stuff. I was doing shows. I mean, I had peaked out there, I believe.
Yeah.
And so when I moved back, you know, when I moved to Miami, it was just like, I have to do this. You know, like, you know, there's nothing there for me right now.
Yeah.
This is where God wants me to be. And I finished my mission, and now I have another mission.
That's right.
Right? And so in 2022, lots of music.
Okay.
Lots of music. More music based. You know, people usually see me and they're like, oh, you know, they used to be like, yo, what do you do? You know,
like what do I not do?
What do I not do, right?
That's the hardest question to answer when you do a lot.
When you do a lot, you know,
because you don't want to sound like you're bragging when you send them a list that's this long, but it's facts.
Right. Right. You know, or you don't want to say Google me or anything like that.
Yeah, right. Then you come off of being arrogant. Like, I'll just Google me.
But, you know, at the end of the day, all those failures and successes, you know, make it so that you can humble yourself.
Absolutely.
And know how to, you know, be direct and say, you know, I'm a music artist. Yes, I do have these other things going, but I'm a music artist.
Yes.
And so when my Instagram page, I got rid of it because it was just like, you know, I wanted people to be clear on my music and the message that I wanted to send, and that I'm, you know, stepping on next, you know, and that's that. You know, forget all the other stuff that I do. Anything like that has nothing to do. You want that, you can hear it in my music. So I will be putting out my 21-track album.
Okay.
Yeah.
You coming with it.
Yeah. So I'm
heavy hitter.
Yeah. It's been a journey writing the album and getting everything together for it. And I wasn't really focused on that, to be honest with you.
Right.
I was focused on the agriculture business like heavily this year.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that. I'm inspired.
But being out there, it gets you inspiration to write. And it's like, let me just, you know.
There's just something unexplainable about being in nature that inspires you, which it might sound crazy because if someone says, you're in the, you know, you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
How can you be inspired? No, like I think it's just the fact that you don't have so much clogging your head up that it allows you to open and think more freely.
Right.
Anytime I need a little mental break, I go for a walk.
Right.
I've probably hit every trail in or around the Atlanta area.
On your Instagram every day.
Every day.
It's like meditation.
It is like meditation. And I just, you know, I go out there and, you know, most of the time I'm by myself and I'm just like, it gives me that breathing room to just think and,
there you go.
You know, and it makes your heart feel good because you're getting a little exercise, you know, it's like, trust me, I totally get it. But some people, I don't know. Not everybody's on the same path.
Right.
Not everyone is going to resonate with us.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not here to please everybody.
No. And you need that. That's the album title. Is Breathing Room.
Okay, that's so dope.
Yeah, and it's important for everybody to create their own breathing room.
You have to have time to yourself, no matter what type of situation you're in. If you're married or dating or even just single and have friends and family, you got to have that alone time.
Right.
You have to, because it makes you appreciate others more. When you got to miss them a little bit sometimes, right?
Right.
When is the album anticipated?
Well, right now, some things have changed. I just found out. Well, I just realized that Ferraris was doing really, really good on Instagram Reels.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So we're about
those Reels are the truth.
I didn't know. So now I am kind of like talking to my team and we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this the correct way. Right.
Yes. You want to do it the right way. I totally understand and respect that.
So of course, you know, Instagram Reels has a different type of synchronization.
Yes, the algorithm is totally different on it.
Right. So for me, it was like, okay, how do I make sure that it's monetized correctly?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think we're about almost at 1.1 million on Reels. And so I think that what I'm focused on right now is how to touch those fans that are already interested in that particular track right now. And so it's not like, oh, I have this album, I'm gonna release this. No, it's about, okay, let's be fans. Let's create something for the fans who enjoy this song already.
Right. It just makes sense.
Right. And so I'm kind of like, okay, I'm gonna let those guys figure out when I should drop my album. I'm gonna focus on pushing Ferraris and making sure that Ferraris is, you know, where it's supposed to be. And I'm thinking like March, April. Hopefully, don't quote me on this. Don't kill me. But it's gonna be. It's a great album. It's an amazing album. It's amazing. It's gonna be one of the best albums in 2022. Yeah, for sure. Like, period. Like, in the world.
And I love the fact that you're taking your time with it. That is so important. You never want to rush the process, right? And the fact that you recognized that the single itself was doing so well, you're diving deeper into it. You want to cater to the people who are fans of that song.
Right.
You know, and one of the things that I talk about a lot with artists, I said, you know, you have to look at your, the algorithms. Like, for instance, on your Spotify, you have to see who's tuning in and listening.
Exactly.
Check that information. Your Instagram even can break it down. If you're sponsoring stuff, it'll break it down, the age bracket, what areas. That's how you figure out who you need to be marketing to and catering to, and then let it grow from there.
Right. And those numbers are,
because
yeah,
you can't fake those numbers.
Nope.
Like, those numbers do not lie, because they're the ones that are going to truly tell you, okay, man, Houston is rocking with me.
Right.
There's always, the numbers are high there.
Right.
You know, and that's why it's so important, you know, to all the artists out there, that you guys make sure you stay in tune behind the scenes and understand, you know, who's actually consuming your music.
Right.
So you can cater to them.
Yep.
So, you know, hey, I love the fact that you are willing to push it back ever so slightly to do it the right way.
Right.
You know, shout out to Bigger
appreciate
Rankin. He always talks about 3 minutes can change your life, meaning a song is on average 3, maybe 4 minutes long. That right there can open so many other doors for you to put a full body of work out and actually have people listen to the entire album.
Right.
Because if you don't have a fan base and you put out a project, 10 songs, 15 songs, it's like, who's really listening to it?
Right.
You want to make sure you got that fan base in order, which that's what you're working on right now. You got a team involved, which is important. We can't do business by ourselves.
Nope.
I sure couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had a long conversation with my business partner last night, and I told him, I said, I could not do this without you.
Right.
I could not do it.
Right.
You know, because there's so many things that when you're bogged down here, they're going to pick up the slack for you and help you make those executive decisions.
Right.
So shout out to your whole team.
Yeah.
So 2022 album is coming. You just have to stay tuned. We don't know exact date, but it's there.
It's in the works.
It's in the works. Let's talk real quickly, if you don't mind, you know, a high and a low point, because I think it's important, again, as a part of your journey and your process, for people to understand things that you've been through, because they understand, they appreciate you more.
Right.
So throughout your process and your journey of this music, and there's probably a few, you know, because we all have high and low points. What was like a low point, you know, a struggle that you had to overcome and that you had to push through, if you don't mind sharing?
Struggle, a lot of struggles. You know, for me, it was more about the people that were around me. I'm very much a person that likes to help others, right?
Yeah.
So
you're nurturing.
Yeah, because, and I like to cultivate their talent.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, what do? You do this? All right, I'm gonna set you up for that.
Yeah.
You know, not so we can make all of this money, but so we can be all productive.
Absolutely.
So anyway, low point for me was a really low point for me was I talk about it on the album. I lost someone really close to me, and we just weren't doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, we weren't doing the right thing, and, you know, one of us didn't make it. You know, And so for me, that put me in a spiral of depression.
Yeah.
And guilt, you know.
Yeah, when you care about somebody, that's what happens.
It was very tough being there in the situation, and then understanding that person's not coming back.
Right.
You know, and I've lost other people before. I've lost people do pass on.
That's right.
But when you lose someone that is like right there since, day one,
Facts.
it changes you.
It changes you, I think, and I'm just going to intervene for a second. I think it changes you, and it can help you in a positive way because it gives you a lot more clarity on life.
Yes. Yeah. You do appreciate life. You do start taking things, and I'm talking about I'm in my 30s, and this happens. And it's like, wait a minute, life is short. You start thinking about that. You start thinking about, I need to make $2 billion now.
Right.
You start thinking about their family members and stuff like that, or our family members or whatnot. But losing him to me was a big, it was a struggle, but it also helped me persevere.
Absolutely.
As a man.
And that's what he would want. Anybody that's close to you like that, when they pass on, they want you to continue on. They want you to be bigger and better and greater than ever.
Right.
Because, that's someone that was a part of your journey.
Right. And he was the guy. I mean, when it came, he took me out to, introduced me to all the DJs.
Yeah.
We were running around doing all of these really, really cool things. And at the end of the day, I can hear him now telling me, like, no, go talk to the DJ.
Yeah.
Like, you're here for this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And he was right. He gave me a lot of relationships, and those relationships still stand to this day.
Man.
But
priceless. That wisdom is priceless.
Yeah, and he was, an important part of my career.
Absolutely.
And who I am today. So that was tough, but at the same time, I pay homage, to him and anything that I possibly can do. And it's just deep, it was just deep. So, but losing someone close to you like that at that magnitude, yes, it does change you. And that was a struggle for me for about 2 years.
Yes.
And I used to think that people with mental health, I thought that they could beat it,
Right. You're like, why can't you just wake up and feel good today?
Right. But it's a lesson learned. So
it is. And I think that a lot of us go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes the people around us to put things in perspective because we don't realize that we're maybe doing some of the things we're doing. I know I lost my mom this year. Mm-hmm. And right after she passed, and still to this day, I'm still kind of, I'm better now. I can talk about it. Mm-hmm. But there was a period of time shortly after that I almost became angry. And it took people around me to say, what is going on? And I was like, you have so many emotions when you lose someone close to you, right?
Right.
But honestly, like, I'm a very spiritual person. My mother came to me and told me she was okay.
Okay.
And when when I experienced that, from that day forward, honestly, I feel like I'm even a better person than I was when she was living. Like, I just find, I found a peace within myself.
Right.
So that's what we have to do is we have to understand, like, the only thing that we're guaranteed in life is that at some point in time, our clock will expire.
Right.
That's the only guarantee we have. We're all going to pass at some point in time, some sooner than others.
Right.
So, let's flip it to the opposite side. I know you've had a few of them because you've worked with some of the greats. What's been one of the highlight moments that you would love to go back and relive?
Highlight moment for me was, and you guys are going to, I won't know, but for me, I opened up for Sean Kingston.
Ooh, that's big.
That was amazing for me. That was like the first time I really got to see people react to my music and people run up on stage and stuff like that. It was just interesting to me that the magnetic feeling that you had with the audience, the crowd and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I'm looking to do bigger and better than that. And he had the number one, like that song "Beautiful Girls" was like.
Absolutely. It's still to this day is making money, you know, it's still getting played. And so let me ask you this right now, if you could get an opportunity to share a stage with anybody, who would it be right now?
Right now, if
somebody living, we'll say.
If I can share a stage, it'll probably be with it would be with Rose. Rick Ross, yeah.
Shout out to Rick Ross, man. I have so much respect for that guy. Like he's a motivation for me, even though we don't do the same things. We're in the same business.
Right.
Just seeing how hard he works is a motivation.
Right.
Seeing that big old house he got is a motivation.
Right. Right.
You know, what about female wise? Who would be a female artist that you would love to share the stage with?
Female artists, I really like. Okay, wait. There's two. I like Dream Doll right now. Dream Doll's pretty cool. She's pretty dope. And then I also like, what's old girl's name? Why can't I think of her name right now?
I'd be like that too. I'm like, I know the music, but I can't think of their name.
Right. I like her is just amazing.
That I was gonna like that's my girl crush. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my girl crush. That's my woman crush is hers.
Like,
she's so beautiful and talented.
And I really want to work with her, and I will work with her. I'm gonna put that in the air.
Yeah, throw it out there,
yeah,
universe.
You know, but yeah, I like Sweetie too. You know, I love what women are doing for the culture right now.
I do too. I do.
Inspiring.
It's very empowering.
Yeah, it is. And you know, I've always been like, I don't want to just work with one female rapper or one female singer. I'm like, I have 3 guys. I can't work with 5 girls.
Of course.
You know, so because it kind of puts that, you know.
It puts you in a box.
Yeah,
you have to be diverse. As a musician, it's very important that it's a big world out here, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody likes the same things or the same type of music. We all are lovers of music. Right. It's a very universal language, but you know, you look at some of the rappers who have turned to doing some country stuff or incorporating some pop, like, you know, Flow Rider kind of is on that EDM pop vibe, and he's very good at it. Yeah. One of my favorites ever, Nelly, you know, Nelly. He's you know, you think about that, and that's how you gain a more diverse fan base, and that's the goal.
Right.
You know, you don't want to just have, you know, trap rappers, you know, you want to have the whole world tune into what you got going on.
And you'll hear that on this album. You'll hear multi-dimensional, you know, sonically designed music.
Listen, I can't wait. I'm excited about it. But we're about to get into the record that's creating all the noise and the buzz right now, right?
Ferrari.
So, talk to us about it. You know, tell us a little bit about, you know, who produced it. You told us it's doing phenomenal on the reels, and I'm sure your Spotify streams are going up. And but give us some detail as far as the creation of the actual song.
I heard the record. They were produced by the Martians, but Martians, they are really talented. They actually, they did one of Chris Brown's records.
Oh, that's
really
dope.
They got a Grammy for. But I heard the record, and all I could think of was Ferraris. I love fast cars. I used to street race and stuff like that. So the dream is to, you know, race a Ferrari, right?
Right.
The song is a motivational song. It's called Ferraris, and the hook is like Ferraris in front of me. So, you know, you have the vision of the Ferrari in front of you, and that's literally, you know.
It's motivation.
You know, so I wrote the song like that. I love the flow. I kind of I grabbed a different type of style from me, you know.
That's great.
I'm a mixtape rapper. I can, you know what I mean? I can rap over any beat, but when it comes down to crafting a song, you know, you want the song to be entertaining.
Absolutely.
And have fun. The bass is incredible. The melody is really nice. My engineers did a really good job. I love the song. When I perform the song, it's just like, you know,
makes you feel good.
Right. It should.
It should.
It should make you feel good.
Don't do anything that does not make you happy. Figure out a way to get out of it. If you're working a job that you're miserable at, figure out a way to get out of it. You're in a relationship that's making you miserable, figure out a way to get out of it. Again, life is so short that, you know, we need to be as happy as possible during our time on this earth.
Yep.
Don't let anybody hinder you. Don't let anybody take your good energy, and don't let anybody make you unhappy. I wanted to ask you about that. I seen the beads, and you got your crystal, and you know,
this industry, you know. So
I know.
You know. I can tell you know.
Yes.
So it's like
it's crazy the energy that's out here.
Right. And you know, you just want to feed. You want to produce positive energy.
Absolutely.
And you want to be around other positive vibes, real talk. And at the end of the day, like, Ferrari, it should make you feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It should be fun for you. It shouldn't be like, I can't, you know, go to the store right now. You know what I mean? Because it's all, you know. But I do feel like energy is like the core of like how we think, how we eat, how we treat other people.
We can't destroy it. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can be transferred.
That's correct.
But it cannot be destroyed.
That's correct.
I have so many of these, and my dad has custom made all of these. My spirit animal.
That's beautiful.
My spirit animal is a cougar. That's why I wear cat claws. I tell people I was a cat in my previous life, and some of them think I'm crazy. But we all have a spirit animal or a spirit guide.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm very spiritual. And that's why that was like one of the first things that caught my attention was your beads, because they're energy.
Yes.
Even when I take mine off, I keep them in a box with a quartz crystal because that's what recharges them.
Right.
Granite is energy.
Right.
So it's like if you keep it in there, it recharges it, and this provides you with good energy. That's why I wear it everywhere I go. My dad custom makes these for me. Yeah. So that caught my attention immediately when I seen you had your beads on.
Yeah, these stay on me. But that's so true. And I think I'm gonna get my kids some,
Yeah.
because it really makes a difference.
It does.
It just does. In the morning, it's just, you can feel it.
Listen, I totally get it. When my mom passed, the only thing that I took of hers was one of her bracelets that my dad made for her, because it makes me feel like she's close to me when I wear it. So yeah. I totally understand. Like, we're right here.
Right, exactly.
A couple of things I need you to do before we get into the record. The first one is going to be tell everybody where they can follow you on all your digital platforms.
You can follow me on Twitter under Fenni Casino. You can find me on Instagram under Fenni Casino. That's FenniCasino. And then I'm also on TikTok.
Okay.
I don't do TikTok videos, but I post videos on TikTok.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
Yeah.
As an artist, you have to kind of dive into all the platforms, because each of them has their own audience.
Right, and it's cool. I mean, it's pretty interesting. It's like It's like the internet library for like anything almost.
It really is. I see a lot of people who download videos from TikTok to bring them over to Instagram, and they put their music behind it to promote their music, but it's like a funny video or something like that. Right. So you find all that stuff on TikTok for sure. Yeah. I know you shouted a couple people out along our conversation. Anybody else that you want to show love to or pay homage to?
My engineer, Protocol, my partner Stowe, Mega Evers, Leon Amazing, Showbiz, Mahogany, all the DJs, just all the DJs in Atlanta. I mean, you guys, you guys got the hardest job.
It is tough.
Yeah, you guys. But yes. Who else? My sons, my daughters.
Yeah.
My mother, my aunt. Too dope. Shout out Too Dope, man. Sneakerheads. Who else? Everybody in Miami was going on. Everybody in the town. 206 was happening. And then myself. Shout out me.
Yes.
Because I really work hard.
Yes, you do.
And I really like to help people. So if I'm helping that person, that's from my soul.
Absolutely. And I could tell. I get that positive energy, and it's very genuine. You're very mild-mannered, and I love that. I'll be honest, and I'm very transparent about this. I've been doing these interviews for 11 years, and honestly, there's some people who will never sit in that seat right there because I don't like their energy. I've turned people away before. I have turned people away because I see how they act, and to me, they just act a donkey. We're going to say it nicely. And I'm like, they'll never have that seat next to me because I don't want that type of energy that close to me.
Right.
So definitely keep doing what you absolutely.
I really appreciate
you have a great vibe, great energy, great music.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole vibe. So the last thing that I got to find out from you, we are live and direct on the Industry's Most Wanted podcast, right?
Industry's Most Wanted.
Industry's Most Wanted. So I got to know, what makes Fenni Casino the Industry's Most Wanted?
Let me tell y'all something. I could be an a-hole. I know the people who know me know I'm very firm on my business, and I don't play. I can be rude. I can be, people's like, oh, you're this, you're that. You know what? It's all love.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, my fans that listen to my music, they keep me going.
Yes.
The comments they give me, the shout outs they give me in the
right.
story, when they see me doing my music, that gives me the inspiration. And that makes it so I can give them what they want.
Absolutely.
You know? So it's really about giving them what they want. So if the fans are the industry, they make the industry.
That's right.
You know, so to my core fan base, I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I respect you guys. And the team and the people, the creative, the producers that I'm around that call me and say, hey, this is a dope track.
Right.
That get me up in the morning like, hey, man, I just mixed it. It's 3 a.m. and it's done. I'm like, man, you still working now?
That's like a Christmas present when you wake up and you got that completed something in your email. You're like, yes.
Right. And yes, it is. Like
it's like a gift.
Yeah, that part is very important. So, you know, so that's the industry. And for them, I'm the most wanted. They want me to put this album out.
I know that's right.
They want me to do these shows. They want me here.
Period.
On the Industry Most Wanted
that's
podcast
right.
with TampaMystic.
You
right
dig?
Now. They want that.
They want that.
This.
Yeah.
You know,
We want it. We the industry's most wanted.
So I'm gonna give them what they want consistently throughout 2020, 2022, and beyond. For real. Like. I'm just foot on neck and foot on the gas.
That's what you got to do, man. We ain't letting up on y'all.
Nope.
So we about to get into this record, the Ferrari song that we've been talking about so heavily.
Ferrari.
Go ahead and introduce it for us.
What's going on, everybody? Fenni Casino right here on the Industry's Most Wanted podcast with TampaMystic. This is Ferraris by me, Fenni Casino, produced by the Martians. Right now on Spotify, Apple Music. My mixtapes is everywhere. Y'all go check it out. Listen right now.
Y'all go get that. Let's go.
Industry's Most Wanted.
Ferraris. Ferraris in front of me. 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 Holla, whip it, skirt, go. Holla, whip it, skirt, go. Holla, whip it, skirt, go. Holla, whip it, skirt, yeah. Ferraris in front of me, and my niggas that run with me. We do it for Nikki and Tasha and Crystal. They say they in love with me. Ferraris in front of me, that Mozzie in front of me. My presence a luxury. Look at this money that's keeping me company. And just if I'm the trillers, we do deals with the dealers. Break bread with gorillas, come witness the realest and get out your feelings. Then we trap with the trappers. Then we pray with the pastors. Ferraris in front of me, head of my time, all I do is make classics, yeah. Ferraris in front of me. 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 Holla, whip it, skirt, go. 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 Ferraris in front of me.